Hello, 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 and welcome to my channel. I was about to say the Wheel and Chill Show, but this is a special me only stream, except for that it's not me only. As you can see, I have a very, very special guest with me, and that guest is my first sister, my real life first sister, Meghan. Meghan, welcome, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I am also excited. Everyone in the chat, thank you for being here. If you have any issues hearing or if the stream is starting to act weird, just let me know and we will address. We will address. I'm trying to make sure that everything goes smoothly here, and if it doesn't, just give me a holler. So we are here to talk about the Wheel of Time season 3, which just ended. The longing has begun, but there's so much to talk about, so we're not done talking about the Wheel of Time for sure. So, Meghan, first, before we start talking about specifics, if the people don't know you, if they didn't see you after our season 2 chat, let them know what got you into the Wheel of Time. Have you read the books? What got you watching the show? And let's just say, how are you feeling about it generally?
Okay, well, you got me into the Wheel of Time, so you were very excited about it whenever it was announced that it was going to be a thing and be a show. And you know me very well in that I am not an avid reader, so we are very different in that regard.
Yes,
So
yes.
no, I've not read the books, but I have been very much enjoying the show, and I find it really interesting, really intriguing, keeps me on my toes. My husband's really into it as well, so I've really, really liked it thus far.
Okay, great. Okay, so not super into reading. What would you say your favorite book is? You know, because you have read
I
some
have read.
things.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of defer to like the Harry Potters. I
Okay,
don't know if I have like a specific one that just jumps out as me as my favorite, but I liked that series quite a bit. So
okay,
I'll go with
okay.
that one.
I mean, we grew up with it, so it's a
Yeah.
classic.
I know five was not my favorite. It took me a while to get through it because I got kind of bored in the middle of it and set it down for several months and then picked it back up and got through it, but enjoyed the rest of it when I got through the slower parts.
Nobody likes Professor Umbridge, so I
Yeah.
totally, totally get it. But you are watching The Wheel of Time. Now, what is your experience with fantasy other than Harry Potter generally?
I have some experience with fantasy, but I feel like I'm not like a fantasy guru per se.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've done like I love Lord of the Rings, like Hunger Games I really like. I don't know if that counts. Harry Potter we already mentioned. Yeah, Hobbits, which is Lord of the Rings, but um, not nearly as much as others have. I've done some Star Wars. It just takes me a while to get through some things, but once I get started, I really like them. So
Yeah.
just The Witcher, I guess I'm watching too.
Oh,
So
there you go.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. People are admiring your bar, by the way. Thank you
Oh,
to other Megan in the chat. Yeah, so good to know. You and I are both Lord of the Rings movies diehards. We
mhm.
have quote competitions and whatnot. We love it.
Yeah.
We love it.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean she's not a fan because she hasn't read all the books. Okay.
Yep. I'm making my way through the books. It's just taken me a really long time, but yep, I'm on the Fellowship. I got
Okay.
through the Hobbit.
Finish the Hobbit. The way you phrase
Yes.
it, got through the Hobbit. It's kind
Well,
of a funny way to phrase
yeah,
that.
no, I really enjoyed The Hobbit. It takes me forever. I said I get in these bouts where I read a lot for me, and then I set it down for months at a time. It's like when I go on a vacation and I'm like in an airport or on a beach, I read, but at home I don't carve out the time to do it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now that we've got her credentials established as a Wheel of Time show only viewer, doesn't know anything about the books and probably isn't at risk of reading them, we can dive right in. So this was season 3. Obviously, there have been
Yes.
other seasons. How did this season compare to the others for you? How would you rate them?
Oh gosh. I need to go back and watch like the first and second because I didn't do a refresher before watching
Mm-hmm.
the third season. But some things that stood out to me about the third season, like the first episode, I thought was shocking in its
Oh,
like
okay.
gore at the beginning. I was kind of taken aback by that, which I've seen stuff like that. I feel like it's ramping up a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, but I feel like I really like the storyline, and I feel like now that I know the characters a little bit more and their backgrounds, I'm more invested in them and what happens with them. So I was really into this season, and I got really excited for each release of each show. I mean, I feel like as a non book reader, I was a little more lost in the first season and just trying to learn everybody and learn all the names. And I admitted to you before the stream, like I might not know all the names still, but remind me and I'll have it.
Fine. Yeah,
It is,
that's not a
yeah.
problem.
But yeah, I definitely say this one's, I mean, in my mind right now, it's my favorite season.
Okay, because I'm gonna throw you under the bus, not really, but you watched the finale for the first time last night, correct? To prepare
Mm-hmm.
for the stream.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I
So
did. Yes.
she's a busy girly, y'all. We can't blame her. She's got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
social activities.
Mm-hmm.
So last night it's fresh, super
Very.
fresh.
Yes.
How did that one hit you? How
It
did
was really good, and the end made me really want to know when the next season's coming out because I can't imagine waiting after it was just the biggest cliffhanger at the end. And so I feel like I'm really excited to see how the story continues, and I hope I don't have to wait. But it was, partially I live a busy lifestyle, but also I didn't want it to be over. So I was like, okay, if I'm kind of busy, I'm not gonna stay up till midnight to watch it. So if I find an evening where I can just sit and relax and just soak it in, that's what I'm gonna do. And with
savor
the
it?
stream coming up, I was like, last night was the night, and it was
Okay.
awesome.
Well, they'll say that there are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the wheel of time. So if you want to
Yeah,
rewatch, there's always
that's a
seasons
great
one through
idea.
three.
That's a great idea. I'd love to see the first few seasons again.
Yeah, I'm rewatching season three right now because the
Mm.
Wheel and Chill show, which I guess I didn't really introduce myself much, but I'm a co-host on the Wheel and Chill show. We normally stream on Monday nights. We didn't have a stream this past Monday, but we will have a stream this upcoming Monday, and it's going to be our episode ranking stream. So I'm doing this rewatch with an episode ranking mentality. So I've got like, the story out of 10, the entertainment out of 10, the quality out of 5. So I'm trying to like be real scientific about it.
Mhm.
We'll see how that works out, but it's been a genuine pleasure rewatching so far, especially because that first episode, whoa. Pew.
Yeah,
So would you say
it's a
you
lot.
could pinpoint a favorite episode, or do you not really like remember them specifically as episodes?
I don't remember like the beginning and ends of each episodes and where they cut off.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of tough, I feel like. I mean, I really enjoyed following Perrin for a while. Like I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was really neat. So I enjoyed that section of the season. But really the last few episodes were there was just so much going on, I feel like. And so I enjoyed seeing how relationships played out. And it made me more anxious to see what happens further with them. So, I mean, the last several are the most fresh in my mind. So those, again, I feel like what's most recent in my mind is my favorite. But
Okay.
um, I did enjoy the Perrin episodes there in the middle. It felt like.
Okay, so the parents' big episode, one could argue, was the second last episode, the battle of the two rivers,
Uh huh.
all of the fighting, the Trollocs,
Yes.
Alana's throwing ice spikes out of the sky,
Yeah.
uh, all of that. Did
Hmm.
you was let's see what how did you enjoy that episode? Because I know you're not super like into battles necessarily, if I recall, because I'm not really. Um, but I loved that episode. Did you
Yeah.
similarly love that episode?
I really did love that episode. Yeah, I thought he just showed his true colors and was a great leader. And I just liked seeing like the kind nature of his heart and like where he was and why he did the things that he did. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And I feel like the battle scenes remind me of like that Lord of the Rings, which I really like. And so it was fun to kind of tie that in a little bit and enjoy that aspect of the show because you don't see nearly as much of that, I feel like, in these seasons.
Yeah, it felt so like high quality to me. It felt like Helm's Deep, right? Because it was
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
small fight. It's very desperate at one point,
Mhm.
and it ended up working out. But thanks to Perrin and his leadership.
Yes.
Speaking of Perrin's arc, how did you feel about a new character this season, Fail?
By you. And that was Perrin's buddy, yes?
Perrin's
The
buddy.
gal.
That was the gal.
Yes, okay. She was spunky. Like I was trying to figure her out for a while. Like she seemed so like I don't know, dark in a way, but you knew she was good at how they portrayed her character. And so I really thought she was good for him and challenged him in the right ways. And it was neat to see somebody kind of, you know, I feel like nobody really challenged him as much as she did in terms of like thinking through things that had happened in the past and
Mm-hmm.
how he's going to go through in the future now because of those things. And
Mm-hmm.
so I thought their conversations were really interesting and their interactions were always exciting to see.
Okay, so we've had some people speculate. You mentioned that she had some kind of like darkness to her, right?
Mhm.
I want to say, and I can't remember if it was Maggie, who we are first sisters, so Maggie is also Megan's cousin. I can't remember if it was Maggie or somebody else that speculated whether she was actually a secret bad guy. And I'm not going to tell
Mhm.
you whether that's true or not, but would that
Mhm.
surprise you if that ended up being the case, or do you think, nah, she's good?
I mean, I think it would surprise me a little bit, but I think I wouldn't be shocked either. Like
Okay.
I feel like there's certain characters like even this season that I thought could potentially turn bad and they haven't so far and they seem to maybe even prove themselves, especially in the last episode. So I don't
Tell
know.
me, who?
Um I don't know her name, but she's the blue Aja
Okay.
um that was Swan's like top girl, like
Oh,
the keeper,
Liana. Liana.
Liana. Like
Okay.
I thought she seemed like she could be a Black Aja, like secretly. Like she was
Ah,
so serious in
okay.
her demeanor that I was like, she could be one of the ones that's running around the tower that they're trying to figure out who are the ones running around the tower that are Black Aja. And so, but I mean, the finale, she really seemed to prove herself away from that point. So
Yeah.
maybe that was a completely misread on my part, but I don't know. She was mysterious sometimes, so I wondered.
Mysterious.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Liana. Yeah, she in episode 1, I don't know if you remember, but she was the one with the staff. The staff moves. The like she like bludgeoned somebody to death. You remember
Okay, yeah.
that? So yeah,
I mean,
she's got some ferocity at the
yeah,
very least.
certainly.
Okay, so Liana was a bit sus, but proved herself in the end.
She
So
did.
yeah, I guess since you mentioned Liana and what happened in episode 8, we have to talk about, and it's fresh. So how are you feeling about Swan? Swan being the Amerlin seat.
I'm really sad.
Yeah.
I just, I didn't really see that coming. Like, I feel like, we were so focused on what, oh my gosh, blanking now, but the main blue.
Moraine.
Thank you. Moraine,
It's okay.
what she saw in the rings whenever she was spinning around, like I feel like we were so focused on that and like which of her millions of visions was gonna come to pass that I feel like I wasn't thinking about Swan and how she could be affected in that. And so I'm just really interested in how, Moraine said that she was gonna have to die or the Dragon Reborn was gonna have to die, but like in a way I feel like Moraine did die from Swan dying. Like she was so heartbroken from it that like I saw her like die on the inside and it just made me really sad. So yeah, I'm really in shock about that and saddened by it because I thought she was a great seat.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you so there's a bit of debate right now going on in the fandom because that's not what happens in the books, and I'm not going to tell you what happens in the books. That's not
Okay.
what happens in the books.
Huh.
I took away from that scene that it was kind of like an epic end, right? Like if she was going to
Mhm.
go out, she went out
Mhm.
guns ablazing, right?
Yes. Yes.
There's this phrase with the Aiel. They say they spit in Sightblinder's eye. Sightblinder
Mm.
being the dark one, right? And
Mhm.
so to me, that's kind of like what she did. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to color your response here. Did
Yeah.
you find her end to be empowering, or did you find it to be like in that it diminished her character?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question. I mean, I thought that her speech just prior to being killed was so strong and so powerful and memorable that I feel like that, like going out on that note, made her look strong. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just so hard, like just the filming and like the picture of her
Yeah.
laying there it was like defeating and it was
Yeah.
just, yeah, it kind of definitely made her seem not like a high, character anymore when she's just on the ground like she was. So,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Well, no, I mean that's a nuanced response. Obviously, there's more to it than the speech she gave, right? Because
Yeah.
she did she was brought low ultimately, even though she faced it on her feet. So
Mhm.
it was a rough scene, I think, for because again, it
Yeah,
didn't happen that way in the book. So book readers
right.
were also just absolutely
They were in
shocked.
shock. Yeah.
And then you get that on top of like Moraine's reaction to it, which was absolutely devastating. And
It
that's,
was.
let's just
Yeah.
say I cried. Did you cry? I know you're you're not
I was
as
close. I
yeah.
didn't
Okay.
because yeah, I'm not as invested as in reading all the books and then
Yeah.
watch. Like so. I mean, I was very emotional,
Yeah.
but I didn't. The tears didn't flow. Let's say
Okay.
that.
That's fair. That's fair. Just, I get really into it. I get really into it. Anyways, so let's speaking of things that didn't happen in the books, and since you mentioned Perrin's arc, you may not know this, but our bestie brother book Loyal went out also guns ablazing, and that is
Yes.
not something that happened in the books
Really? Oh my
either.
goodness.
So, how did you feel about Loyal's arc in episode 7, or just generally in this season? How did you feel about Loyal this season?
I really liked him. I thought he was loyal, which goes well with his name.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he sacrificed so much for others. Like he was always willing to power through, even though he was getting weaker and weaker. And so I had a lot of respect for him in the season, and I thought it just did so much good that it was cool to see that happening and cool to see that showcased because I feel like that's not always something that's highlighted in shows or movies. And so it just made me kind of get some warm and fuzzies that he just put everybody above himself.
Yeah. Okay. Did
Mhm.
you recognize, and this again, you probably watched this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, did you recognize the song that he was singing, that he hummed like right before he went out?
I think so. I feel like I remember
You
when I
recognized
watched
it?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It was the Manetheren song that they all sang in season 1, the like "Weep
yes,
for Manetheren,"
yes,
yeah,
yes,
which
yes.
I thought was really cool because again,
Yeah.
he was like channeling the strength of Manetheren while
Hmm.
protecting the people of Manetheren in
Yeah,
what he did. So did this, I assume, surprise you also? This one?
it did. Yes, it did. I was definitely, yeah, I didn't expect him to not come back. Like I saw it unfolding when it was actually happening, but I did not think it was coming.
Yeah, yeah, me either.
Made me sad.
People were like, "Oh yeah," whenever he was like, "I have to go inside and watch my back," I was totally ready, and I was like, I wasn't ready at all.
No.
So do you anticipate or see him coming back in any capacity?
Um, no, I hadn't thought about him coming back. Like I kind of felt like that was it, but like again, I don't think anything would really surprise me too much
Yeah,
when it happens. But I felt like it seemed like it was an end, but we don't visualize it like we did with Swan. So
yeah,
who
yeah.
knows?
True. Okay, so
Maybe
no.
it was a teleport hole at the bottom. Took him somewhere.
Some
He's
people
fighting his way
really
back.
some people really want that to be the case. Jose Oliveira, I'm leading her down this path, but Jose Oliveira says, "But did she hear the Horn of Valir soundtrack for Loyal?" So, whenever he like started doing the final blows on the bridge, the
Uh-huh.
same music played as played when Matt blew the Horn of Valir and all the heroes came out. So, does that change your mind at all?
Oh, maybe. I think it could.
Okay. Maybe a little hero of the horn going
Yeah,
forward.
I didn't
Maybe.
even catch that. So that is a good thought.
So one can hope. One can hope. Okay, so let's see. I guess like let's take a little breather. We've talked specifics, so let's pull back a little bit.
Hmm.
Did you have a favorite character going into the season, and did it change?
Hmm. I mean, that's a debate. I feel like I love Moraine and I love Lan. So
Okay, the dynamic duo.
yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
choice.
I guess if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Moraine was my favorite going into this season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she had a lot more screen time last season, maybe. Like she's had a lot this season too, but I feel like she had more narrative. And so I was drawn in by her last season. This season, she was certainly present throughout the season, but character wise, man, there's a lot of good ones. I really enjoyed, um, the green.
Alana.
Yes, I really enjoyed Alana. I thought she had very powerful scenes this season, and she showed, I don't know, how strong she could be in different scenarios, like having to be strong through the loss of one of her warders and like not show that emotion even though she was feeling it.
Yeah.
And then teaching the twins how to channel, like as she's bleeding everywhere. Like she was such a stud, I feel like. So
Okay.
I enjoyed her a lot. But yeah, I still just love Moraine. I don't, I can't unlove Moraine. So
Yeah, no, and it it doesn't help. It helps. It doesn't help and or helps that it's Rosamund Pike, who any scene that she's in, she absolutely devours. Right? She's
yes,
she's
absolutely.
god tier actress, and so anything she does, I'm like, yes, ma'am, yes, please keep
Yes.
keep. And so the prospect of her possibly dying this season, right? Her saying that she was going to die, I was like, I know it says you're saying that it's happening, but I don't want it to happen.
I know. I was worried, but I was like, there's no way with there being 14 books that she could die this early on. Like, I don't know what book we're in, I guess, at this point, but
This was
I just,
book 4, for what it's worth.
okay, okay. I couldn't imagine no more rain.
I
So I
know.
didn't believe it. I figured there had to be. And then after watching the finale last night, I really want to go back and watch the episode that has her in the rings to
Mm-hmm.
see, like, I know, like, a lot of them, like, was it Lanfear? Is that the bad
Yeah.
man?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like, cut her head off and her head's rolling down the floor. But, like, was there one that she just got stabbed? Like, she got stabbed in this one and we didn't see her die?
I was
Probably.
gonna say, like, do
Yeah.
you think she's seen the vision that she dies in? It had like
Yeah.
has the vision that she died in happened, and it just she thought she died because she got stabbed, or
Yeah.
do you think it's still coming? Do you have a prediction there?
I feel like I wish I knew how much of the vision she saw. Like, is it just snippets like we saw, or was it like, I almost thought it was like not a lifetime, but it says that you're in these rings forever. Feels like, so I'm like, does she
Yeah.
see the entire scene play out? And like, the only time it blacks out is if she dies. But I guess whenever Rand dies, in theory, like they have to end at some point. So maybe it just cut off after she'd been stabbed and she didn't actually like full on die, but she
Okay.
thought she died because she was getting stabbed. But I mean, I feel like they get stabbed a lot, um, and they
And we saw
still live.
Leandrin get stabbed with 2 swords. She was fine.
Exactly, exactly. So and the fact that she said like, I think it's today. Like I feel like she saw that part of the vision that they were all coming together, and Rand was going to have this big speech, and she was going to have to protect him. So I feel like she like knew which one it was.
Mm-hmm. And then it ended
But
up with her not dying and Lanfear leaving that fight pretty critically injured. So how are
she's
you
still
feeling about
alive.
her? Still
She's still
alive.
alive because that one scene whenever she's with Rand, was it season 1 or season
Season
2?
2. She shows up in season 2, if you can believe it. Yeah, we
And
didn't.
she just stabs the heck out of her in that cabin and's like, we have to run. She's still alive. And Rand's like, what? You just like murdered her. Like, and she was fine. So I feel like this wasn't as equally critical of an injury as that time. And she totally healed herself. So
Yeah,
she's doing fine. I feel like
she'll be back.
she'll move on.
Okay, I can see that. So somebody in the chat, we've got Jenny G asking, would love to know Megan's favorite environment slash location this season.
Oh,
So,
wow.
for example, we've got the Aiel Waste, we've got Tanchico, where Nynaeve and Elaine were, we've
The
got,
singing the song.
let's sing the song, we've got the White Tower, obviously, we've got the Two
Mhm.
Rivers, there's a lot of, okay, I might be forgetting, but that feels like the main places.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, I love the Two Rivers. I feel like that is kind of where it all started. And so part of me wants to pick a new one that happened this season. And I think one that kind of stands out to me is when they're in the Aiel Waste, but it's like the little garden area, like it's their little town. I
Mm-hmm.
thought, and like where they do the dreaming and the teaching how to fight the bad things away in the dreams, like I thought that was a pretty cool area. And like there were a bunch of different like unique aspects of it. Like I said, the garden and the rooms where they're sleeping and like just looking out amongst the city. Like, so that was an interesting one. I enjoyed that for a
Okay.
change.
I think
Yeah.
that was Cold Rock's Hold,
Okay.
unless they, it's different than the books, but I'm pretty sure it's Cold Rock's Hold, which is neat. It's a cool little location in the middle
Yeah.
of rocks.
Mhm.
So, oh, okay, that's a really good answer because I love the Aiel. Which, you know what, no, I'll ask what Jose Oliveira is wondering first, and then we'll circle back. What do you think of all the wardrobe? Do you have any favorite fits from this season?
I mean, the IEL wardrobe was very cool. I enjoyed just like all the spears that they had and all the
Okay.
different, like, I feel like they have nooks and crannies, like things where they're hiding things amongst their flowing gowns. So
Okay.
I really liked that. But then I mean, I feel like at the tower, they have so many neat outfits and they're all just gorgeous and stunning. And like, especially like the Amelin seat, like that garb is just super impressive. Obviously, it's supposed to be, but then, yeah, at the end, whenever the red gal took over, and she was just decked out in gold and red and hugeness, like it was definitely a sight to see.
Yeah, so speaking of the red, Alida, she's something else. I think one of the most hated people, in in fiction right now, I guess.
Yeah.
How did you like she was introduced this season? How did you feel about her?
Oh, I
Like, did
don't
you
like her.
well, don't like her now, but like how
Yeah.
did you feel about her at the beginning? Did
I
it
felt like she was
change?
bad. As soon as she showed up, she felt bad. So I knew, like, I didn't know to what level though. Like I didn't know if she was Black Aja level or just mean or like had a different agenda, but I knew she wasn't on the side of the people that I was cheering for. So I
Okay.
never liked her and now I like her a lot less.
Okay, so have you decided, is she Black Aja or is she just mean?
I I'm having a hard time with that. Like part of me wants to say she's just mean,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like how can you be that mean and not be a Black Aja? I mean,
If
I
you're
don't know.
evil, you're evil. Like you're with the
Yeah,
dark
like
one, right? Okay.
exactly. Like,
Okay.
yeah. But
So,
for some reason, I'm kind of like maybe she just has her own agenda and she's like on a different team we don't know of at this point. Like I don't know. That's another bad team.
okay.
It's trying to take over in some other way.
She clearly loves power, if nothing
Yes.
else. If
Yeah.
nothing else. Oh my gosh, I just did I forget what I was gonna ask you? I was like, we're gonna circle back to this, and then I forgot. Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna save myself here. We're talking about the Aes Sedai, so I believe I asked you this question whenever I had you on the stream after season 2, but we've seen more from different Ajas now. So, do you know which Aja you would choose? And if you need me to run through them, I can.
Run through them real quick.
Okay. So, oh my gosh, I just had a power flicker. That was crazy. What is going on? Can you see me?
Yeah.
That was really
I
weird.
saw the power flicker, but you're still there and I can still hear you and see you.
Good. That was weird. Okay, anyways, so we've got gray, which is like diplomacy and negotiation. They're often like the advisors to kings and queens. We've got blue, and they are like they devote themselves to certain causes. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
I am so freaked out.
Can you storms there?
No, it's like some like a button is being pressed or something. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's fine. Oh yeah, flicker is actually a thing from the show, so that's kind of funny. Okay. Anyways, okay, so yeah, gray, blue is that they're like I associate them with like justice, like because they're like a lot of blues have like just causes.
Okay.
The green is the battle aja, so they prepare for the last battle
Okay.
to fight the dark one, right? That's their big thing.
Yes.
Reds are they try to find men who can channel to gentle them because they're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yellows are healing.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I missing? Browns are like studious, history,
Yeah.
research.
Mm-hmm.
And did I do it? Have I missed one? Oh, whites. They're like logic,
Okay.
mathematician, people like that.
Okay. I'm definitely drawn to green and blue.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like being strong and prepared for the last battle is kind of what it seems like everything's leading to.
Mm-hmm.
But I also just love like serving just causes and like standing up for what's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, those two I definitely like quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah, it's
So
green and blue for me are kind of like this because the
yeah.
blue that we're most acquainted with is Moraine, and her
Mhm.
cause is preparing the dragon for the last battle, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
very like green adjacent to
True.
me. Mr. Critter thinks I'm a green. I think I'm a
Mhm.
blue. So I like
Mhm.
that you're kind of like on the fence with that too.
Yeah.
We're both what would you say? Aquamarine. We're both
Yeah, there we go.
greenish blue, but I like to say that I'm just pure blue because
Yeah.
that's my aja of choice. But okay, kind of same for us.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, okay, so gosh, I'm so mad that I can't think of. I guess if you could be in any like culture in the Wheel of Time, right? We've got Aes Sedai, we've got Aiel, we've got Two Rivers folk, we've got people who live in Tangico. I don't know. We've got White Cloaks. We've got the Tuatha'an, the traveling people, the peaceful people,
People, way of the leaf.
the Way of the Leaf people.
Yeah.
Who would you live with? Who would you? Oh, we also have the Wolf brothers, obviously. Like if you count Elias as his own thing.
Yeah.
We've also met the Shinarans in season 2. They were the people up north. We only met them briefly, but Uno, for example, was a Shinaran. They're
Yeah.
like a fighting kind of warrior race.
All right.
And the Shan-Chan, they were the people who captured Egwene. So we've met
Okay.
a lot of different cultures. Which one would you want to be
Yes.
a part of?
I'm a horrible decision maker if you haven't told this yet throughout this stream, but I love the Wolf Brothers a
Yeah.
lot because we always loved wolves and the woods and that kind of vibe. So I'm very drawn to that, but also the Aja are awesome.
Yeah,
So
Sedai.
nice that
Yeah.
I feel like that's like so intriguing and there's like so much to be learned that if I had to pick, maybe I'd say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Wolf Brothers are pretty cool.
Yeah, we were
So
talking. I don't know if it was live or after a live stream, but the question was like, who, if you could be one of the characters in the Wheel of Time, like replace them, who would you pick?
hmm, wow. I mean, Moraine probably. It's just
Even
she's
though
so
she may or may
cool.
not be destined to die, and
Yeah,
she just lost the love of her life.
that's rough. You're right. Maybe Perrin because he gets to run around with wolves and he gets to be a hero and
Okay,
a leader and
it's a good choice.
stand up for what he believes in.
I could see you fitting in the Two Rivers. Honestly, I could see us both fitting in at the Two
Uh
Rivers.
huh.
Let's be honest. But I would pick
Absolutely.
Elaine because not only is she an Aes Sedai, but she's going to be a queen.
Yeah. True.
Like,
True.
come on, guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, everyone, I don't know how closely Megan is keeping an eye on the chat, but just a reminder
Right.
that she is a show-only person. So keep spoilers out of the chat if you would, please. Thank you very much. I haven't seen one, but I can't see every single chat that happens. So don't don't spoil anything, fam. Okay, so let's see. I actually asked people on Instagram to send me questions that they wanted you to answer. So let's see what they sent in. All right. We've got, oh, what do you expect next season to be about? Where's everybody going? What's the next step?
I mean, I feel like we need to see what happens with all the Aiel and
Okay.
the Dragon Reborn and how that pans out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I feel like as far as like Matt and that group goes,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's so many different angles or different things that can happen with them. And I'm really curious where that collar went and if
Right? That was their main thing, and they lost
yeah,
it.
and it just like what was her name at the end that was going to drown?
Leandrin. Or sorry,
That was
Nynaeve, that was going to
yeah,
drown. Got
90.
it,
Thank
yeah.
you. Yeah, so like 90
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
whenever she
Sorry.
broke feet.
The,
Was it Blair again?
no, it like it's fine. It's kind of like changed my settings a little bit, so I need to change some things so that y'all can see. It's fine. Keep going.
Okay. So yeah, Nynaeve had such a powerful moment there at the end that like I'm so excited to see what she can do next season and how well she can control her channeling because I think that just gave her all the confidence. So I think she's going to be fairly unstoppable, really powerful next season.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling she's going to chase down Leandrin and get that collar back by force and be awesome about it. But who knows? We'll have to see. But
See, indeed.
yeah, what other things? I have no idea what to think about Perrin. Like I'm sure they're going to try to show us what happens with him going with the White Cloaks and what I feel like they worked so well together during that battle that maybe there'll be some level of forgiveness, forgive and forget, but also
Okay.
maybe not. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we didn't talk about Perrin going with the White Cloaks. Do you think he made the right call?
I mean, I'm so mad that the the one guy let all those terrible creatures in that like
Oh,
he came
Paden
with
Payne.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I wonder what would happen like, if they didn't come to help, Pat and Payne would have been able to let all those terrible people in. But I mean, I think they probably were going to get overtaken at some point, but I'm like, they got overtaken so much quicker by that happening that I wonder what it would have done if they didn't. Or
Yeah.
was that on purpose? Maybe he knew. And he just said, "Oh, I didn't know he was going to do that." I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, paired with the White Cloaks. Who knows about the Tanchico crew? We've got to deal with the Aiel. Lanfear's definitely not dead. So speaking of, we haven't talked much about the Tanchico crew. We got the Hills.
That was so entertaining. I
You
thought that
liked
was
it? Okay,
hilarious. I
I'm
did.
glad.
And that song, I feel like, is going to be just go down in history. But Hills of Tangico,
Yeah,
right?
I've been playing it constantly. If I'm honest, like
It's so catchy.
it's gonna be in my Spotify Wrapped without a
Yeah.
doubt. Trying to remember which episode that was. It was
I think it was a
episode
two-tier one.
6. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. An instant classic, The Hills of Tanchico.
It was such an interesting group. Like, and how many of them came together there, and they were able to stick together because I feel like it's been several like one person expeditions kind of going off on their own, but then there's this whole group together, which I love that they're together and working as a team. And I don't know, it's entertaining to see Matt and the Vision gal. I forget everyone's name, but
Vision Gal, Min.
Mickey.
I love it.
And just to like, yeah, to see that vision that she had come to fruition, and it wasn't him doing it to himself, like it was whatever that crazy arch was that.
Okay, let's talk about that. We haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
Were you surprised? How did you feel about Matt going through the arch? Just everything that happened.
I was really confused. I have no idea what that creature was on the other side and why they were there. It was like a genie in a teleport room instead of a bottle.
Genie in a teleport room. Yeah, Christina Aguilera actually has a song that's titled that. So
yeah, and it was just intense. Like it was like you felt like that beast was gonna hurt him, and he did too, I'm sure. So that's why he was so just like saying all the things, but you didn't realize that it was like you had to barter your way out of it safely. Like whenever you think of a genie, which this thing seemed to be, parallel to that, it's just you get what you want. But he was so mean and pressuring about it that he's like, well, you didn't ask to stay alive, so here you go. Like it was baffling and shocking, and I did not see that coming at all. So I was kind of just trying to figure out what it was and why it was there. And
okay, a genie fox genie.
yeah, it's terrifying.
So yeah, how did you feel about how it looked? Was it?
It was freaky. I definitely think it was like a fox devil thing. Like the teeth were terrifying. I mean, it looked like a demon, truly. So
did you notice anything weird about what it was wearing?
Was it like armor kind of stuff?
It was leather.
Leather.
Uh-huh. You have a guess as to where that leather came from? I won't ask you to watch it back, but let's just say that there were some imprints of what might have been human faces. Human skin. Yeah.
That's creepy.
So creepy.
Bones, but I didn't think about the skin.
Yeah.
World.
Pretty weird. Anyway, they're called the Finn, and they are weird. But did you pick up the fact that Alida, the person who became Amerlin at the end of the season, also dealt with the Finn? Was that like something, like she came back through the door frame at the beginning of episode 8?
Oh, yeah, I did make that connection, but now that you say that, like, because she was like, that's a dangerous place to go. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I did not make that connection. That was the same door.
Well, it's not the same door. It looks they look the same, but it was the one in the White Tower, whereas this one is in Tanchico, right? So they're two different doors.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So she knew how to barter with this creature.
Well, and yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the repercussions of it yet, but they might be coming still.
Right. So they
Huh.
called. I'm trying to remember in the show because this guy that we saw is called an eelfin, and the one that she dealt with is called an aelfin. And I'm not going to tell you the distinction, but I hope we get to see it. But it's they're it's weird and creepy no matter what.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Basically.
I think it would do me a lot of good to rewatch like this season and all the seasons because I
Yeah.
haven't rewatched any of them. So I think that would be really helpful to like piece things together and to probably fully understand like the first season even more. Like now seeing what's happened so far.
Honestly, I cannot recommend rewatches enough because like even
Mhm.
as a book reader who like kind of knows what's going on, you pick up new things all the time. And the same is true for rereading the books. It's interesting that the experience is similar in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I highly recommend a rewatch, especially because it hasn't been renewed yet.
Mhm.
I'm confident that we're going to get renewed, but you know, every little watch helps basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the Matt interaction was weird to be sure, but Matt
Yes.
this season, how did you feel about him generally?
Gosh, I was very concerned for him in the middle. I'm bad at placing the timing, but like how he wasn't able to sleep at all and just he seemed very distraught and desperate. And so I guess I worried for him, like with Min's vision, that he was just going insane, like in terms of hearing the screaming all the time. And just, I really felt for him and I hated that for him, but he still had pieces of Matt in all of that. And I feel like he got more and more back to Matt as the season progressed. And
Yeah,
like the last season, like, episode or two, I feel like he was like, you know, the fun, jolly, joking guy that we knew before. Maybe not jolly, but joking and hilarious and making sarcastic comments as much as he can.
yeah.
So I
I
liked him more as the season progressed.
I love Matt. He's like our comedic relief. You know what I mean? Like more than any of the other characters, he's always got the joke. The
Hmm.
has anybody ever noticed that the White Tower looks like a dot dot dot? Like it
Yeah.
was like he's just always the like what did it say? It was something like you're gonna get speared, and he's like, "Light, I hope so." Like all the little quips. He's just so funny. I love it. I
Yes.
love him in the books, and so seeing him kind of become funnier in the show has
Hmm.
been really delightful. Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? There's a scene that is very iconic in the books that we got to see this season, and it is the scene where he fights against the two princelings. If you remember, he's got a
Yeah.
quarterstaff and he's fighting the princelings.
That was
How
awesome.
did that hit for you? Did you like it?
I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Like I did not have faith in him whenever it started. I was like, "Oh no, buddy, you are getting in trouble." But he stood his good. Like that was so cool to see him just whoop them. And they were all showing off before, and everybody was very impressed. And he was just like, "Well, let me show you this. I can be a lot cooler with just a stick." So,
Let me tell you. Yeah, he's great. We love him. And I guess okay, so we haven't also talked about Nynaeve and her plight, right? We didn't see her channel the entire season
ah,
until the very, very end. Were
yeah.
you fed up with Nynaeve? Do you like Nynaeve? How was the vibe?
I think before that last episode, I was kind of like, "Come on, figure it out. Like you are just in your own head. Like give yourself a chance." Like it seemed, I don't want to say she seemed to be pitying herself because she didn't necessarily like show it that way, but I felt like internally she was just kind of like, I can't do it, like self-limiting. And so I was
Okay.
frustrated at that because I feel like she could have, if she would have allowed herself to, but like her fear was too much for her to overcome. And so
Yeah.
that was frustrating. I still liked her. She was still a really kind person and she was willing to try to help Matt whenever he was desperate. And so she was still doing good things, but I was just like, come on, like figure it out. Cause, you know, we knew she could do it. It just was, you know, not able to come forth until the very end.
And when it did come forth, was it a pretty powerful moment for you?
Absolutely. Like I got goosebumps. I was really excited to see what she's gonna do from here on out because everybody's been talking about it, like the most powerful channeler we've ever seen, the most powerful channel. And it's like, well, we haven't seen anything this season. So being able to see it, like, okay, that looked really powerful. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay. Heck yeah. That was sick. That was super sick.
Yeah.
I was ready. She breaks her block later in the books. No spoilers. I'm gonna tell you how or anything like that. But
Mhm.
so I wasn't sure she was gonna break it, but I was sure like she's gonna channel, right? Because there are ways around a block without actually breaking it. They
Oh,
didn't do much of that in the show. They just kind of had her like they nerfed her for about a season, and then she just broke it, which is going to make
Mhm.
for a super fun season 4, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So speaking of Nynaeve channeling, we encountered before she could channel one of the other Forsaken, the creepy, crawly Spider Woman
Yeah.
Mogedion. How did you feel about her this season?
She was so creepy, and I couldn't figure her out. Like, she was just like, I thought I kind of figured her out, but then I just couldn't figure out whose side she was even on. Like, I know she's a Forsaken, but she just, I don't know. Like, I'm still kind of trying to piece together. Like, she pretending she was the maid for um the red one? Like,
Leandrin, yeah.
Leandrin. Like, did Leandrin just, because Leandrin knows who she is, so did she put on like a block like she did for Nynaeve and the princess, that Leandrin just
Oh,
couldn't
like
recognize
compulsion?
her? Yeah.
So Leandrin knows of Mogedion, but she didn't know what she looked like.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like she was like helping Leandrin, but then she was like coming after her. I didn't know what she was gonna do when she came around people. Like, I was nervous for everybody that encountered her. I thought she could have, hurt Nynaeve and the princess by showing up, but she was just like, "Oh, let's chit chat. Oh, give me that little bracelet. Okay, bye. Like, you're not gonna remember any of this." And then they did it, and I was just like, "But you were supposed to break free of that and be strong somehow, and not actually forget it." And they did. So
They did,
she's,
but they kind of were like they realized something happened, even if they
yeah,
didn't know exactly.
yeah,
And we got to see Nynaeve fought it. She like really tried to
yeah,
fight it.
she did.
So do you
Yeah.
think have we seen the last of Mogedion?
No, I think she's gonna start ramping up because with literally, I don't know why I can't remember the red one.
Leandrin.
Thank you, Leandrin. Just so many of them floating around, and I always
Yeah.
pick the wrong one. So, like, with Leandrin's deal she was making towards the end, like, I think she'll take her up on it, but then she's
Mm.
like gonna get more and more powerful from that. Like, she's gonna try to prove her worth because Leandrin said that she's the weakest one, and that's probably gonna make her really mad and want to prove everything wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but also take Leandrin up on it by like saying, "Oh, well, this one's weak, and then I'm gonna pick this other one off." Because at the end of the last show, like, whoever she mutilated, like,
Oh, Samael, that other Forsaken who showed
yeah,
up and then immediately died.
yeah, like, I thought she was gonna use him in a different way, like train somebody or something, and then he's just not alive anymore. So
Yeah,
she's kind of intense. She's really intense, actually.
really
Take it
intense.
kind of
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's. I have a feeling that because Elaine and Nynaeve know what happened, kind of now, that
Mm-hmm.
they're not gonna be okay with her. I hope it's like a revenge arc for them to come back, because
Mm-hmm.
nobody likes to be manipulated in that way, in
No.
my opinion. Um, okay, so we've talked around. You know what we haven't said a single time this stream so far, and it's been like almost an hour. We haven't talked. Well, we haven't talked at all about Egwene. So Egwene had a bit of a season, right? She was being traumatized repeatedly by Lanfear in the World of Dreams. Her and Rand were on the rocks a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and she learned about Teleron Riot and how to channel from the Wise Ones. So,
Yeah.
how'd you feel about her arc this season, and how did it compare for you from the last seasons?
Gosh, she has had a rough go. I mean,
Yeah.
well, yeah, last season she was getting tortured basically. This season, getting tortured. Like, I just feel like she's been through so much hardship, and it's just like I feel so bad for her, and I can see where she would be furious with Rand, and just,
Same.
yeah, yeah. It's just, I don't know how she's not lost her mind and just blown up yelling at people, but she's just like, she like just internalizes it all, which I don't know is,
Healthy.
no, yeah, probably not. But like, I feel like it makes her so determined to get stronger in the ways that she can and learn things to like help prevent getting hurt in the future. So I feel like all of her hardships are like helping her get stronger and better and more diverse in her ability to cope and protect herself. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I feel like distraught sometimes and like pain to see all the things that she's going through. And having to just constantly deal with over and over again. And it's like she just can't catch a break. So
She's that walking example of what doesn't kill you make you stronger, even though there's so many
literally,
ways that that phrase is not true.
right.
But with Egwene, it's kind of true.
It's wild. Yeah. I feel so bad for her. I'm curious how all these things are gonna, I don't know, pan out for her, I guess, in future seasons.
Do you think her and Rand are done for?
Golly, I can't figure it out. Like it feels like it, but I don't know. I always have these like senses with shows or things. Like I'm like, okay, they're like, breaking up now, but they drew such a like strong story in the beginning with them that I'm like, I don't feel like it's over, but
Okay.
it might take a while maybe for it to, but yeah.
So you think they might be end game? Is that what you're like kind of suggesting?
Yeah.
Think they're end
Yeah.
game material? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean,
I
they
think
definitely
essentially.
have a history.
Yes. They do.
That's no joke. Although, if you were in her shoes and you found out that he had been doing what he was doing,
Nah, he'd be gone. Sorry. Done with you.
bye,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, how do you feel about Teleron Riod, the World of Dreams? Do you feel like you understand it?
I feel like I understand it decently for understanding things in this series. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm still kind of confused with certain aspects of it. Like I just thought it was funny. Like I was like, I would never be able to fall asleep with 10 people standing in a circle watching me try to fall asleep because I can't fall asleep when it's me by myself because I'm just terrible at it. So
Sound
that kind
machine's
of
got to
baffles.
be in your ear.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, at the beginning I was really lost, but then I feel like they did it quite a bit to where I felt like I was learning how it was
Mm-hmm.
working by the end.
Practice
But it
makes
still,
perfect.
yeah, it still was kind of like an Inception type thing. Like, is this a dream? Is this real life? Like,
Welcome to
where
the
are
Wheel
we
of
right
Time.
now?
Honestly, that's just how it is in the Wheel of Time books. Like, I'm sorry, what's going on? Where are we? What's happening? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's where Egwene's at. We haven't talked a ton about the Dragon Reborn, Rand
Mhm.
al'Thor,
Yeah.
other than the fact that he's a trifling, forsaken, loving dude.
Hmm.
How was his arc for you this season?
I feel like he is trying his best to grow in the right ways. And I feel like that would be really hard, like knowing you're destined to go mad, basically. Like it just feels he's probably like, okay, I can try my best to do the best thing that I possibly can, but if I'm, doomed no matter what, then he could be one that's just like, what's the point? But it seems like he's really sticking with like, well, I want to do the best that I can to actually like, win the last battle for the light. And
Mm-hmm.
so I appreciate him for that he's not just taking the power and running with it. Like he has moments where he has outbursts or, emotions that he can't control, but we all do. So I don't think we should hold him to a standard that you can't have an emotion and channel a ton to try to bring somebody to life that you're upset is dead. Like I would do the same probably. So
Okay.
I don't know. I like him this season.
Okay, we like
Mhm.
Rand. That's you know what,
Yeah.
honestly, because yeah, Rand is a polarizing character. Some people are just like can't
Yeah.
stand him, and I think I agree with you that he is doing his best.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned the scene where he tries to bring the girl back to life, which for me was
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, like it was hard to watch, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like she's dead
I might
now.
have actually cried on that one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. It
Whenever
got
there's
you.
like just strong emotion, like yeah,
You're
Moraine almost got me, but anytime anybody has really really strong emotions, then sometimes it gets me. It just
you and I are
depends on
both
the day.
sympathetic criers. Then I think
Yeah.
that's what that's called, sympathetic
Yes.
criers. Um, So that was intense, and okay, apparently almost got you. But Rand and Moraine had a conversation in episode 8, so you just watched it, where Rand finally acknowledged that Moraine was there for him and was
Yeah.
trying to help him. Did that
Yes.
evoke any kind of emotion in you?
I was really happy and thankful that he finally realized it because I knew that Moraine was doing that for the good the whole time, and the fact that he like didn't see that, I was like, come on, like she is like believe that she's trying to help, like
Stupid
you know,
kid.
I know. So I really appreciated him saying that. It made me have really good faith in what is to come for those two. And the fact, like, if he trusts her, I feel like they'll be so much more powerful together if they can guide each other in the right direction.
Okay, little dynamic duo. We've got
Yeah.
Moraine and Land, and now we're gonna have Moraine and Rand, hopefully. So we've got a question in the chat, Dana Luhu. Also, thank you, Dana Luhu, for reminding people about the spoiler level. I always appreciate you. What role do you see next season for the Aiel, the Clan Chiefs, and the Wise Ones? So you mentioned you weren't sure what was to come next for them, but do you have a prediction?
I think that the Aiel will play a big role in the last battle, which I don't know if that's going to happen next season because that seems like it'd be coming up quick. But
That would be soon.
I think that they'll be really powerful for Rand. And like if Rand is on like the light side, then all the Aiel will be behind them. I did get kind of iffy vibes on the clan chief though, that like told Rand he couldn't tell him about their history as the way of the
Ruark.
yeah. Like he kind of gave me iffy vibes a few times.
Okay.
And because is he the one that had the wife that ended up paying Lanfear a favor? Like, wait, not Lanfear. I'm sorry. Wait, yeah.
No.
She was like, I'm cashing in my favor. Was that the
was
wife?
that she wasn't anybody's wife. She was a maiden of the spear.
Okay.
Who, yeah, she was in the show. She was Malkiri, which is where Lan is from. But she wasn't.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I guess like the one that he comes up and kisses whenever they enter that city.
Oh,
like I don't know. He gave me iffy vibes a few times, so I'm like, well, maybe there's just the iffy vibes. Maybe there's some kind of dark side in him, and he might try to turn the clans against each other. Because if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like they had talked about like the Aiel would like kill each other, go after each other once the Dragon Reborn, or I forget what they called him, but the Karakan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Karakan. And they said that they would like a lot of them would die from that. So I thought that battle was like about to ensue whenever he was bringing forth the truth that they weren't supposed to know. So I thought they were just going to kill each other. And then the ones that were left were like, oh yeah, you are our Karakan, and would follow him.
Yeah.
But maybe that's to come because that didn't happen right there. And so maybe some of the clan chiefs will end up turning some people against each other, and then whoever's left would follow him.
Okay. So we're not sure about Ruark's intentions.
Not entirely.
Yeah, he was hard. He was very adamant that Rand not tell them the secret, right? And you know what? We haven't really talked about episode 4, which is where Rand and Moraine both went into Ruidion. And for a lot of book readers, that was an episode that we were all just dying to see, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's so heavy in book lore, and I thought it was beautiful. And so as a show only person, how did that episode hit for you?
I knew it was a very important episode. I feel like the rings that Moraine was in, I could follow. Like it was straightforward, the visions of what could potentially happen. And we kind of were prepped for that to happen. And we were prepped for what Rand was going to do, having to walk through and like keep going and not die. But his visions or his like stepping back in time, I got a little bit lost in just not having as much background. So I was like trying to follow it. And I felt like I followed some of the stories or some of the lives that he was in, but then a few of them, I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't like I knew that I could see him in each of them. So like his past self, I'm assuming, is what each of those
his
flashes.
ancestors.
His ancestors. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like his wheel before.
No, his wheel before was, we've seen him in other episodes, like Luz Theron, the dragon. He's had.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There've been cold opens where he's in them.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
But they all it was all the same actor.
Right? Yeah. That was kind of like it was a choice, right? Because in the books, without spoiling anything that you didn't see in the show, Rand goes back in time and sees things that happened to his ancestors, right? Okay. And so the show decided, since he's seeing all this, we're just going to have him be the characters, right?
And then I knew it was either him or a relative because it looked like him. So relatives look like each other. So I was like, okay. So that was something that I was trying to piece together. But then just some of the storylines, I was kind of a little confused on, but I followed, I feel like half of them. And so I kind of could piece it together through like the previous one. I was like, okay, this one doesn't really make sense, but the next one kind of does. So
after episode 4 and we saw the history of the Aiel, like what they actually started as.
Yeah.
Did you understand, I guess, why Ruark was so worried about Rand spilling the beans, essentially?
Because they're not supposed to kill anyone.
Yeah,
That's like dishonorable to kill people, and that's what they do now.
literally. Yeah, you got it. Okay. Message
Yeah.
received then. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was essentially that they had promised to remain peaceful, and they broke that promise, and they're continuing to break that promise to this day. So, Tavir and Tavern in the chat, one of my beloved Wheel and Chill co-hosts, asks, "Have you discussed Couladin yet? Do you recognize the name Couladin?" No, he is the
Nope.
crank pants Aiel who tried to claim himself as the Dragon Reborn.
Oh, I don't like that guy. He makes me mad. Like, why? Could he even? Well, obviously he can't channel. That was a dumb question. But what? They're gonna find out. Like, what is he doing?
He, you know,
I mean, I didn't see. I don't know. Maybe he can channel somehow. Maybe there's another twist that I don't see coming. But yeah, I felt like there wasn't a lot of him in the show to fully understand. He just seemed cranky every time we saw him.
yeah.
And like maybe he's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can like draw a comparison of, staying within the blood of, the Aiel only kind of thing. Like they kept calling him an outsider. And so maybe they just have more pride in their group and don't feel like anybody from the outside could come in and lead them. Like, I don't know. But yeah, he was grumpy. I didn't like him at all.
Do you think we've seen the end of him, or is he coming back?
I bet he'll come back.
Yeah.
I feel like he's cranky enough. He'll want to show us the crank.
He'll still challenge Rand, even though a lot of them have already agreed that he's the one.
Yeah.
His wife, I think they're married. The Savannah, her crazy outfits. Did you like her outfits?
I did. They were pretty.
Outfits.
They were impressive. Yeah, I like them a lot.
I could send you. I actually did circling back to episode 4. I could send you a TikTok that I did that reverses the order and explains the significance of all of the flashbacks.
Yeah.
So that might be a little helpful. Crank it in, yeah. Tavern, that's perfect.
Oh yeah. Awesome.
Okay, gosh, what are I know I told you it would be about an hour and it's been over an hour, but I want to make sure we talk about everything. What else? Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want to talk about? Oh wait, no, somebody on Instagram wanted to know if you had a favorite moment of channeling, like if there was anything, like any specific channeling move that stood out to you this season.
Ooh, I mean the dagger glass lightning bolts during the Two Rivers. Yeah, that was awesome. And like bringing together the twins and that random old lady that nobody knew, like all of them coming together.
Random old lady. Fair.
I mean, that was awesome. The fact that like Alana was like, come here, you guys. Like, I believe in you. You're going to do it. This is how like she taught them so quickly and then just like completely daggered a bunch of bad guys. So that was really cool.
Okay.
And obviously like, the Nynaeve's last episode moment was amazing. Like what I had been waiting for. So it wasn't as like, I don't want to say impressive. It was super impressive, but it wasn't as like showy, I guess, as the lightning daggers. But I liked those two quite a bit. Those two definitely stood out.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. Like the ones that stand out to me are the bookends, right? So we've got the cold open of episode 1 with the insane fight, right? And it's not just one bout of channeling. It's just like there was so much channeling that it like stood out as like a wild one power fight. And then the end with Lanfear and Moraine, their duel, that just looked so freaking cool to me. But there were tons of like really good examples, like in episode 4, the old lady who made the glass columns, right? That was really cool to look at. Like I don't know, there were so many. I thought it looked really good in my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I thought too, whenever Moraine had the ball thing and she was in the desert and just like there were all sorts of things floating around like water, like that was really cool too. And I was just like, what is going on? But it was impressive.
Okay, we haven't talked much about Lan, and you mentioned that going into this season he was one of your faves, right?
Yeah.
So how was his arc this season for you?
I feel like it like wasn't as impressive as previous seasons. Like I don't want to say he like flew under the radar this season, but I feel like he had a lot of angst still, even though I feel like last season he had a lot of that. But I just feel like there were some maybe backstories of his that I didn't fully understand. And so maybe I wasn't connecting with them as much, like with him being the king of his.
Malkier. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so I didn't fully comprehend that because it wasn't on my radar and I'm not a book reader. So I was just like, what's going on here? Like, so I couldn't connect with his emotions as much as maybe those that were familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to, like, I'm even having a hard time putting boundaries between the seasons, but like, was it last season there was more interaction between him and Nynaeve, or was there some at the beginning of this season at all, or
There
no?
was some at the beginning, yeah. So he gave Nynaeve his mother's ring at the beginning
Yeah,
of the season, which was really nice.
that was super nice. Like I thought the beginning of the season, maybe I could relate to his actions and reactions more than towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I also thought he did. I loved the scene with him and Moraine hanging out on the rock,
Getting drunk.
drinking nasty drink. That was just hilarious. I love that. And he was like, well, it's not tonight. Like, so I really got to see like the land that I loved in like that scene. And so I feel like there were pieces of him that like came through that I really enjoyed, but I also feel like it was more subdued than maybe previous seasons.
Yeah, he's just such a good friend. And he like mentored Rand a little bit this season too,
Yeah.
doing the
True.
sword
Yeah.
forms and stuff.
Yeah. I need to rewatch because I forgot about that. And that was really good of him to do as well. He's a patient guy.
Super patient. Yeah, it's he definitely wasn't at the forefront of this season. I feel like they put kind of like Rand especially and Perrin at the forefront more than, Moraine and Land were kind of last season. Obviously Moraine too. But okay, you know what? You mentioned that you may have cried. Oh my gosh, I already forgot when you said you might have cried. No, it was when Rand was trying to bring the girl back to life. There was one of the biggest cries that I had this season was when Egwene was going through everybody's dreams, which first of all, a little bit creepy, right? That she was like getting into their dreams and watching them. But the dreams that we saw Nynaeve and her daughter, right? That she had whenever she went through the arches. Daughter doesn't actually exist. We had Matt's mom telling him that she was proud of him. There was just like really, it was like, so I wept like a little baby. Did that one hit you at all?
Yeah. No, I mean, some of the flashbacks got me, but not, nothing stand out to me.
And Moraine and, it started with Moraine and Swan's like, in the next life, I'll wait for you.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That was like,
that was sweet.
It got me started. I was like, oh my God. And then Nynaeve came up with her daughter and I was like, oh my God. It was so hard for me to deal with. It was fine. But yeah, it was rough for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you feel about, okay, we haven't actually talked about the other Forsaken at all. Lord Gabriel, aka Robin, who rolled into the White Tower at the side with Morgase the Queen, Elaine's mom. Yeah. Did you sense anything sus about him before it was revealed that he was in fact a Forsaken?
A little bit. I feel like not necessarily even his like personality, but I feel like when there's certain scenes, it like almost sets it up, like it gives me feeling. So I feel like whenever he was sitting and chatting with the princess,
Elaine,
I feel like them just like talking about like their history and knowing one another super well. Like to me, I was just like, they're setting something up, like it kind of like put me on edge to feel like something was gonna happen with him. And I didn't necessarily pinpoint what at that time. Like I was surprised, with how it ended up, but I did kind of catch on to there's something important about this guy that's not revealed at this point.
Okay. Fair. So a little sus. Did that shock you that he was able to do what he did? Basically convince everyone, with an eye shot that who he was, that he was somebody that they knew for a long time?
Yeah. I mean, that was really shocking. The fact that he was just like, no, like he put that in your mind. You don't know this guy. Like I don't know that guy. Like, that was a surprise to me on the last episode because I didn't even piece that together. I didn't even think about that. And then when he was so alarmed by it, like, I'm curious how that's going to affect her.
You mean Tom? Whenever he's like, that guy doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
yeah, yeah. Like I was like, wait a minute. Like I thought he like came into the scene when she was little. Like I thought he was like setting this up for years and years,
Oh
but he
no,
just like
no.
put it in their brains that that was the case. Like that kind of blew me away.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So were you excited to see Tom back?
I was. Yeah, Tom's a fun character. I really like him.
Yeah,
So it
the
was cool to see.
the Gleeman. He was because like when we left season one, he was fighting a fate. So you didn't think he was dead? Was it surprising that he came back?
Um, no, he seemed just like a badass character.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay.
I
Hell
yeah,
yeah. Hell
yeah.
yeah. All right, so we talked about Gabriel. What about Elaine's brothers, the Princelings? How did you
Oh,
feel about them? Were you like naive in for that sort of thing?
I mean, yes and no. Like I felt like they were kind of full of themselves, but you know, it was fun like watching them, practice and fight and say that it'd be fun to be a warder. Like I thought it was interesting that they were kind of into to the same things and into being there.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have been just pouty about it and just ready to leave, but they got into it, which was kind of fun.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So do we like them? Not like them? Neutral on them for now?
I'm pretty neutral for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's
I
fair.
feel like I don't have any strong emotions one way or the other for them.
Yeah, it was a pretty brief introduction, so
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. I can
Yeah.
see that. All right, so that's all I can really think of to ask you. I feel like I asked every question that I noticed, all the questions that I got on Instagram. Um, that feels about. Oh, I don't know if you remember this, but Moraine had a straw hat in the show whenever she
Uh
was
huh.
like in the waist, the straw hat.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
pretty controversial hat. Did you like it?
I didn't think it was her style.
Okay,
I,
so
I was like, I think I made a comment and I can't remember what it was. I was like, oh, it looks like she's going to the beach or like she's on vacation or something. Like, so it just didn't seem like her vibe. Yeah.
okay. So you're not you, I don't believe, are somebody who has watched White Lotus, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, it's a show and they're always on like a vacation and it's like rich people vacation. So it's like
Okay.
Moraine and White Lotus.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
kind of. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, that's the last thing I could think of. All right. So, yeah. I guess before we let you go, I'll ask one more thing.
Hmm.
Did you have a favorite moment in this season? And I know that's like a huge question to ask
It
on the
is.
spot.
Wow. Favorite moment of this
And it
season.
doesn't have to be like one that you were happy about. It could have been
Yeah.
one that stood out to you, one that shocked you, just the one that had the biggest wow factor for you.
I mean, I feel like one of the things that I just like think of whenever you said that, like I did not enjoy it, but it was stand out was like whenever the twins and Matt's mom were caged up
Yeah.
and they said like you can channel like you're a witch and she just immediately was like yes it's me like take me like whenever she did that I was like it's not her is it but like the fact that she just was so selfless in that act and just was protecting her daughters was impactful and what happened to her from that was just devastating so it was memorable in a very bad way but she went out as a hero in my mind from that.
Wow. I'm really glad that you brought that up because I realized I thought about bringing it up earlier and then I just forgot and
Right.
skipped it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good way to look at it is she sacrificed herself for her daughters and before when we saw her she was never this like noble character, right? She was always kind of like sad and mopey and like accusing Matt and all this other stuff and now she kind of proved herself to be more than we thought she was, which was
Mhm.
lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a really good answer.
Oh,
Actually,
thanks.
I'm glad you said that. Okay, well, whenever I do live streams typically and I have a guest, I always kind of give them the floor so they can say whatever they want whenever we're finished. I will
Okay.
start this by saying thank you to the chat. You guys have been amazing. Thank you, Dana Luhu, for being my chat police. I appreciate you a lot. And everyone who came back here, I know the season's over. I know the longing has begun. So the fact that you showed up is very much appreciated. Meghan Meghan, thank you for coming on.
Thank
People
you.
really liked your shelves behind you. Just so I
Okay,
don't know
good.
if you've been watching the chat, but
I peek down there occasionally. I didn't really see much about it. I didn't get too distracted, but that's good.
they liked your shelves. And yeah, it's just I'm glad that we did this again. I had fun doing it after season 2, and I feel like it's been a
Yes.
blast talking about season 3 with you too. So thank you for coming
Yeah.
on. And now is your time to say whatever you want, and it doesn't have to be about the Wheel of Time. It doesn't have to be anything specific, but this is your
Okay.
chance to say whatever you want.
Well, I first of all really appreciate you asking me to be on the show. It was fun recapping and thinking about everything that I had watched so far, and it was good to have you remind me of what all had happened this season because I feel like I again am bad at distinguishing. Okay, what happened season 1, 2, 3, distinguishing those from one
Yeah.
another. So it was helpful to kind of run back through. Okay, this is what all. It seemed like it went really fast, and it also seems like it like lasted a long time. Like
A
thinking back
lot
on all that
happened.
happened, a lot happened. And so I just appreciate you for getting me into the Wheel of Time because I'm not a book reader, so it was going to be really hard to get me to read them all. But I'm loving watching the show, like
I'm
and seeing it
glad.
unfold in that way. But yeah, I am very much looking forward to see what future seasons hold, and
Many
I'm
seasons.
also looking
Amazon.
forward to watching back the ones that have occurred because I feel like I can catch on to a lot more and feel more like a pro come season 4.
Yeah, okay. I love that. Excellent final words. Rewatches all around. Okay.
Mhm.
Y'all hear that in the chat? Okay. That's going to be it for this live stream. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in to the Wheel and Chill show on Monday night. We're going to be ranking our favorite episodes. Or like ranking all 8 episodes from best to worst. Not that any of them were particularly bad in my opinion, but you gotta place them somewhere. I would like to let you guys know that my podcast will be coming back probably in the next month or two, so keep an eye on that. The podcast is called But Are There Dragons? If you haven't watched it or listened to it yet, we've already done The Hobbit, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and Return of the King. So if you want a Lord of the Rings reread, we could be your companions. And then we will be announcing what we're going to read next soon. I will say it's not going to be the Silmarillion yet. We're going to try something new. So keep your eyes on that. That is going to be it for both of us. Thank you again, Megan. Thank you to the chat. That's going to be all. Sleep well, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.